Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Chapman Radio Discover Virtual Day. And we are going to be talking specifically about the School of Communication, but really talking about Chapman University as a whole. And one of the cool things that we're doing with this virtual Discover Chapman Day that's unlike other universities is that we are doing it from the university's radio station in the basement of one of the dorm buildings on campus. So all throughout this Discover Chapman Day, we're really treating this like a radio show where you guys are our callers. We're going to ask you to engage with us, call into the radio show just by unmuting your mic on Zoom and ask us a whole lot of questions. This is definitely meant to be super engaging today. So that's why you're going to hear some music in the background, you hear some sound effects throughout this virtual Discover Chapman Day, and hopefully it's going to be a lot of fun. So let me first start by introducing myself. I am Dr. Travis Bartosh. I'm faculty in the School of Communication. I'm also the faculty advisor for Chapman Radio, and I've been at Chapman since 2015. I just got like a brand new, the university gave me a pen that says like 10 years that I've worked here, so that's pretty cool. And I've seen a lot of what Chapman has been through over the last 10 years, and it's a really exciting place to be. But the real reason that you're here is not for me, and that's a lesson that I've learned over the years, is that I'm not the one that you really want to hear from. It's the other three people that are on the screen right now on our Zoom call. And I'm going to go around the table and have them introduce themselves. And I've asked them to say, obviously their name, where they're from, year in school, your major, and then I asked them to share a favorite Chapman memory. So Sam, if I can go to you, please.
Yes. Hi, my name is Sam. I'm a sophomore graphic design major with a minor in advertising. I am on Chapman Radio staff as a graphic designer, and I'm from Denver, Colorado, so not too far, but still not local. My favorite Chapman memory, is it kind of like lukewarm to say like midnight breakfast?
No.
Yeah, and if you're going to say it, make sure that you explain it,
Yeah.
what it is.
So Midnight Breakfast is an event that the university program board puts on every semester during finals week. And last in the spring, it happened on my birthday. So I went with all of my friends. We got Pazookies first, and then we went to Midnight Breakfast, and it was like they have a bunch of dance performances, and then they serve like pancakes and sausage. So I would say that.
All right, awesome. Sam, super nice to meet you. The audience, they love you.
Thank you.
Absolutely love you. All right, going around the table, let's go to Thomas.
Hello, my name is Thomas Shine. I am a sophomore and I am a communication studies major. I am doing it just because of Chapman Radio. This is an amazing station, and sorry. And I really just like communications and sort of like communicating with people. I'm from Placentia, California, which is like 20 minutes north of Chapman University, so it's just a nice drive back to where I live. Let's see. A favorite Chapman memory has to be the university program board or some different like athletics program. They do like not once a month, but like once basically a semester, they do this volleyball beach tournament. Like there's a beach court on campus where you can play volleyball. And they'll host this tournament where like you sign up, you get your friends to sign up and you play like a volleyball game. And I had no idea about this, but I was just walking by because my dorm last year was just like right by the beach courts, and I was walking by and I decided to sign up, and I was assigned to a random team, and our team won. And it was full of a bunch of like last minute people joining in, and our team won. And it was a very fun memory.
Awesome, super good. As well, really nice to. I was going to say meet you, but I know you, but for our audience to meet you.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Kiki.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kiki. I am a junior PR and ad major with a double major in French. I am on Chapman Radio as the program director, and then I'm also an orientation leader on campus. And I'm from, I said where I was from, right?
No, I don't think
I'm
so.
from Huntington Beach, California, so I'm also local. And one of my favorite Chapman memories, honestly, is just every single night I would just hang out in the dorm study lounges with my friends, and then slowly more and more we'd run into more of our friends coming back to the rooms, and then they'd start hanging out, and then suddenly there'd be like 12 of us hanging out for hours in a study lounge, and that was just like every single night freshman year. It was just so nice and fun.
Yeah, just friends hanging out, like
Just
making
being
memories.
ridiculous,
Awesome.
eating snacks.
Awesome. Super nice to for everybody to meet you, Kiki, as well. All right, so before we get into it, like I said, I want this to be really engaging. We're going to treat this like a radio show. That's why you're going to hear music and sound effects throughout the next hour or so that we're going to be with each other. But one of the things that I want it to be engaging is for you guys to be able to ask questions, everybody that's on the Zoom call right now. So if anybody has any questions or any comments right now, we'll give you some time. Feel free to unmute yourself and chime in. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to ask right now? Feel free to raise your hand as well, if and then maybe we can call on you. But like I said, really want to make this as engaging as possible. All right. Feel free to type into the chat as well.
We have a question. We have someone.
Oh, we have a question. Stacy, are you able to unmute yourself and can you start talking?
I think can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, good. Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this. This is a super cool resource I've got a daughter who's looking to come to Chapman her freshman year next year. So this is a super cool resource you guys are putting on for us. My question for anyone that wants to answer is, once you got to Chapman, how did you find out about like this radio station and get yourself involved in it?
Ooh, good question, Stacy. Oh, Sam immediately has a finger up, ready to answer it.
I have a good one. Can I go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I didn't really know about it until I got to campus. Chapman Radio, it wasn't like a huge like thing I had seen online or anything. But I remember like the first week I saw in the piazza or in like the main area, there was a big Chapman Radio table, and I was like, that is so cool. Like I wonder how I get involved with that. And then I actually lived in Henley last year. So one night I was downstairs doing like our big Henley washing dryer room is right there. So I saw all of the staff members over here at the radio station because it's big and it says Chapman Radio everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. It's right here. So the next time I saw like a little booth, I walked up and I got the little pamphlet that said to join the class. And I couldn't that semester. I was really sad. I had to wait till the spring. But as soon as I could, I took the class to join Chapman Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Stacy, just to let you know, we're one of, are going to toot our own horn here for a second. We just won best streaming radio station in all of the country last year. We took about 20 students to New York City to the unfortunately named Intercollegiate Broadcasting System Conference, or the IBS. Conference.
IBS.
And we won a couple awards, but the big one was best streaming radio station for all of college radio in the country last year. So really successful, really successful radio station, and we make it really accessible for everybody. Kiki, Kiki's our program director this year. How many shows do we have this semester?
I believe around 75.
Yep. 75, and if I had to venture a guess, there's about 150 students that are part of Chapman Radio between the class and the club. So there's a lot of people that can participate. We're the largest club on campus that's active right now. So, and there's a lot of successful people that have come out of Chapman Radio. If you've ever listened to a Dodger game broadcast, that's Chapman Radio alumni. Leslie Jones, the SNL, she was a comedian on SNL, was also Chapman Radio alumni. And then we have several people that work for iHeartMedia and just in the general audio industry as well. Stacy, that answer your question?
That does. Yeah. Thank you. And congratulations. It's a nice honor. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have any questions before I kind of talk about the School of Communication? I do have my sound effect ready to go.
Oh my gosh.
If anybody give people time. Okay. All right, so we're going to go from that, and I do have breaking news.
We're communicating.
Like a newsroom.
All right, so the breaking news is that this virtual Chapman Day is meant to talk about the School of Communication specifically, but we're really going to be talking about Chapman pretty broadly as well, so multiple things. But the big news of the day is talking about the School of Communication first, before I kind of turn it over to the students to talk about their more general Chapman experience. So like I said at the top, I am a professor in the School of Communication. I teach classes in both strategic communication and communication studies, but we also have a third major called communication in the global workplace. So I just briefly want to talk about our three majors, and since Thomas is one of our majors, I might ask him for his experience or his angle on being a communication studies major. But let me first start with our strategic communication major in the School of Communication. What this major is a little bit more specific to the field of persuasion. And what we do in the strategic communication major is understand how messages are designed, how they are distributed, and how they can persuade people to do, know, or believe in something. So a lot of these students end up in marketing types of jobs, sales positions, in promotions department, in advertising. But really what I like to think of our major in the School of Communication generally is every line of work out there is going to involve persuasion at some level. That's kind of what being in our social world involves, is persuasion. And I'm currently teaching a class that's called SEC 100. If you're a strategic communication major, this is the first class that you take. And we take a look at all the various steps that are involved in designing a message in a professional environment, in a business setting where you're working with a team of people on designing and delivering a message. And what I like to tell my students is that when you go back home for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's coming up in a couple of weeks. Your Uncle Bob and your Aunt Carol are going to ask you, what are you studying at Chapman? And you're going to say, oh, I'm a strategic communication major. And they're going to say, oh, that sounds really interesting. But what is that? I'm not exactly sure. And what I like to break it down as, that I mentioned earlier, is that it is the study of persuasion. And it's that simple, is how do we persuade a group of people to do, know, or believe in something. By the end of the strategic communication major, we actually give the students funding to go out and develop their own messaging campaign, where they actually develop a campaign in the real world, implement it to try to create some type of change in the mind of the target audience. Our second major that I want to talk about, that Thomas is a major in, is the communication studies major. And what this major is a little bit more broad. And I like to talk about the metaphor of a pie. So envision a pie, either a dessert pie or a savory pie, a pizza pie. Pie is made up of many slices. The strategic communication major is one slice of that pie, and that's the persuasion slice. The communication studies major is the entire pie, where you get a chance to take a look and taste each slice of that pie. So you'll have a little bit of persuasion, but you'll also have a taste of interpersonal communication, intercultural communication, group communication, family communication, organizational communication, all the various subdisciplines within communication. Thomas, what are some of the classes that you remember taking and taking this semester?
Well, I just recently, like last semester, became officially a member of the School of Communication. So I have not been taking very many classes in communication. Freshman year, I took a public speaking class, and I took a class on, I believe it was like social media communications. There, like you were saying, like the School of Comm and specifically communication studies, like covers a broad spectrum of like what communication can be. There's a very many different mediums in which you can communicate. There's of course face-to-face. There's like being on your phone, right? Like just calling someone. And there's different contexts in which you would use each one of those, whether it's relational, situational, or cultural. There's a heavy emphasis on like other people's cultures and being able to communicate through cultures and being able to convey information respectfully and effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, yeah, so like right now I'm in COM 100. You know, it's like my first semester of sophomore year, but I'm in like the introductory class. But it's really teaching me a lot about just communication in general and how varied it can be, and how many things it can apply to, right? Like not just like work stuff, but like being able to communicate with your family, right? Being able to build friendships and other relationships. Being able to like talk to like your like relationship partner or something like that, right? Like communication is the way in which humans like talk to each other, how we convey information to each other. And so I think that like being a comm studies major is very important, not only to just like growing a career, but also just growing yourself as a person.
Thomas, I love it. You are a geek about communication.
Yes.
I love it. But yeah, he said something that I teach a lot in my classes that may sound over the top, but I would really encourage everybody to think about it, is that communication is the basis of our social reality. Without it, what do we have? We can't even imagine an environment like that. So that's the approach that we take in all of our communication classes, whether it's communication studies, strategic comm, or global comm, is we're really playing around with reality in a sense, and that's what I think our discipline makes our discipline really cool, is that it's the basis of everything that we do in our social world. The last thing that I want to talk about is our third major that I briefly mentioned, the global comm, or global communication in the workplace. And this is a unique major because we partner with the Department of World Languages, and half of the major is in the School of Communication, where you're taking communication-based classes, and then the other half of the major is where you're taking language classes. So you'll emphasize in Spanish, for instance, and then take half classes in Spanish, and then half your classes in the School of Communication. Or you'll do French, and then half the classes in School of Communication, or whatever other language you choose to focus on. We see that students that have ambitions for working in some type of global context, or know that they're going to be, maybe after Chapman, going to a specific culture, specific country, and working there, that this is an excellent major for them to get involved in. I don't want to leave Sam and Kiki out of the conversation, but I do want to slowly expand our conversation from starting with the School of Communication today to kind of talking about Chapman broadly. Both Sam and Kiki, and whoever wants to go first, would you guys mind talking about like what you're studying that I know is not in the School of Communication, but would maybe give people that are on the call here a better idea of what is just happening around the university broadly?
I mean, I could speak for the World Languages Department because I am a double major with French.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
Okay.
I actually have a lot of classes with global comms majors, and so I can't really speak for their experiences and what they necessarily get out of it. But for me personally, I love the French department. I just think it's an amazing place. A lot of the classes are sociology based, but being taught in French and through like a French cultural lens. So I took a class analyzing cuisine and like who eats, why we eat, and like what we eat, but through French film and literature. And now I'm taking a class on child development, which is very similar to that, analyzing like children growing up and how people interact with children and raise children through French film and literature. And I'm also taking an introductory class to translation, which honestly I felt when Thomas was speaking about learning to communicate and culturally communicate, I felt I was learning a lot of similar stuff in my translation class, because we're learning how do you translate from French to English, English to French, and keep the same subtext and context, but also make it applicable to a different audience and a foreign audience. So
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents on the World Cultures Department, languages.
And then what is your, is that a minor?
That is
Or a double major?
It's a double major. So my other major
Yeah.
is public relations, advertising, and entertainment marketing, which usually at other schools I would say would be considered in either the business school or the School of Communications.
Right.
But here at Chapman, it's within our film school because of the entertainment marketing emphasis. So a lot of the things I'm learning in public relations and advertising is kind of geared in a generic sense towards everyday business, but also towards the entertainment industry specifically.
Yeah, and there is a lot of overlap. I know that we have some school of comm students that that major in a school of communication major, but then do the PR,
PR minor.
minor over in Dodge. So there is a lot of overlap, which I think is really cool. And Kiki, I don't know if you are aware of this, but there is a new club on campus starting up. I know they might have already started. You probably are aware of this. I'm going to surprise you or something. But there's a new PR and advertising club.
The PRAA?
It's going to be housed in the School of Communication.
Oh, okay.
As well.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of interesting partnerships and opportunities to do the PR and advertising thing beyond the classroom and out in the quote real world.
Yes.
Very cool.
Sam, maybe tell us about your educational journey here at Chapman.
So I just started the advertising minor, it's like the mini version of what Kiki does in Dodge. So I haven't taken a Dodge class yet. I've only taken a business marketing class, but I'm excited to start that. It goes really hand in hand with my major, which is graphic design, another form of communication.
Absolutely.
Yes, in Wilkinson. So we learn, it isn't just like technically art stuff. We're also learning how to market ourselves as a designer. A lot of the projects I'm doing right now are like personal portfolio. We're making a physical like printed portfolio, and then also we're designing our own portfolio website. So it's in addition to like being like learning the technical skills and the do's and don'ts of graphic design with how to price out work and how to talk to clients and how to like prepare for like the environment that graphic designers live in, which is communicating with marketers and advertisers and people who have no idea what they're doing and they don't know what they want, which is like I've had a lot of good real world experience here too with other people on campus and clubs like that because I do a lot of club work too. Yeah, so I'm really excited to start doing more advertising classes. For Dodge specifically, you have to wait until the spring to apply to either transfer major or do a minor, I'm pretty sure. So I couldn't apply until the second semester of my freshman year, of which one I did. I was accepted at the end of the school year, and then I started my classes in the fall.
Great.
Yeah.
And both Kiki and Sam brought up an interesting point that I want to elaborate on, which is they mentioned a minor, or Kiki's doing a double major. So one of the things that you have to have at Chapman is not only a major, but you have to have something else too in order to graduate. And that something else can be one of three things. So you can do another major, so like Kiki's doing a double major, or you can do a minor, or you can do this thing called a themed inquiry. And what I encourage students to think about, and I always tell this story of somebody that I went to school with that double majored in communication studies and biological sciences. And when I met her, I was like, oh, girl, like you're so lost. Like communication and biology, these things are so different. Like, how do they like work? You're just like shotgun approach, like everything just across the board. Like, what are we doing here? But she knew exactly what she was doing and really showed me how you do this pairing a major with another major, a major and a minor, which is you pair these things to kind of help point you in the direction of where you hopefully want to go. So this girl who became my friend, who double majored in communication and biological sciences, wanted to get into pharmaceutical sales. And so the pharmaceutical side, like the sciences side, obviously came from biology, because somebody in pharmaceutical sales would need to know the basics of human physiology, biology, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously the sales persuasion stuff is emphasized in the communication major. So that really stuck with me. And when I advise students here at Chapman, I always think about that, because I know every student has to have these two things, a major and either another major, a minor, or this kind of mini minor called a themed inquiry. Is I encourage them to think about how do we pair these things together to help point you in the direction that you want to go. So, for instance, we have a very popular dance program on campus. Like the dance major is a pretty big deal here on campus. They just built a brand new dance studio inside of an old orange packing house that is really cool. But I had students that wanted to work on shows like Dancing with the Stars, or So You Think You Can Dance. They're like involved in the world of entertainment as it involves with as it has to do with dance. And so I had a lot of students that major in communication studies and either do a double major or a minor in dance to pair those two things together. I had another student that was interested in healthy eating, and he wanted to do a lot of healthy eating campaigns. And so he took a minor in nutritional sciences over in Crean, which is another school at Chapman, and then did strategic communication for the persuasion, message developing side of things. So that's something I always talk to students about is, all right, how do we pair the major and the minor, or the two majors together to help point you in the right direction? And Sam, when you were talking about yours, that really kind of jumped out at me. Before we allow the students, or I have some questions for our students here. Does anybody have any questions themselves? Feel free to unmute yourself. I will put our thinking music back on while we do that. Feel free to write in the chat as well. But any callers from our audience out there? All right, looks like Ava has a question. Ava, your volume's on the board here in the radio station. Just unmute yourself and let's shoot your question, and then we'll go to Marco afterwards. But Ava, go for it.
Hi, I was just wondering, you were talking about changing your major. Is that like easy to do, or was it like kind of a struggle? And how did you know you wanted to change your major? Like, were you just not happy with it, or did you want to do something else? Like, how did you, kind of decide on that?
Ooh, great question, Ava. Does anybody want to take that one?
I guess I'll start. I mean, technically, I never really changed my major. It's more along the lines of like I entered in as a like undecided major because I wanted to go into Dodge initially. I think I was very into like cinematography, and I wanted to be a like cinematographer like in the industry. And to be perfectly honest, I did not have what it takes. I was not dedicated enough. I just didn't have like the drive to keep making movies that I felt were not up to par with my peers in high school. And I sort of like lost interest with it, but I still wanted to do something with movies. And when I caught wind of Chapman Radio, I thought, okay, maybe I can have a radio show about movies, right? And so that's what I did. I created a radio show called Double Feature where I just talk about two different movies. And that's really sort of like sparked something inside of me to sort of change my major, or like actually like fully decide like, okay, I don't want to do Dodge anymore. I want to do School of Comm, so that I can keep, like the main benefit of me doing School of Comm is so that I can take the Chapman Radio class over and over again and get 3 credits for my comm major, which is very nice. If you're planning on being a School of Comm major, that's probably one of the best things that you can do. But yeah, so like in terms of like changing my major, like it wasn't that much of a difficult thing like on paper. It was more just like in my own head. It's like, oh, do I really want to like completely switch topics, like since you've already put so much effort into one thing, it's really just about what you think you're going to want to do later on, right? Like, is it really going to be worth it to keep doing something that you've taken so much effort in when you think like a different major would be just more beneficial and would end up with you in a better career or a career that you want?
Right. And then Kiki or Sam, I forget, did you guys ever change your major?
I've been a minor flip-flop. I was going back and forth with different minors all the time. So originally, at the beginning of my sophomore year, I'm a junior now, I added a French double major. And then I got really nervous and I was like, I don't want to write my thesis. I got really nervous. And then I was like, no, I'll just do the minor. And then I was like, I'm not going to have enough credits to graduate if I only have this minor and my major. So I had to add on another minor. And I'm in that minor right now, and I think it's really interesting. It's creative and cultural industries, if you want to check it out. but I just really don't see myself continuing with the minor. So now I'm dropping that, and then I'm adding French. And since it's all stuff within the school of like Wilkinson, which is like the humanities, it's a lot smaller of programs and there's a lot more leeway with it. So you can kind of add and subtract as you go, and they'll kind of just like accept and deny your request, but they usually just accept my request since each program is so small anyways. But I know for a lot more impacted programs, like within Dodge, I know my friends who are in my major applied for minors inside Dodge and they didn't get in.
Right.
So I'd say if you want to be in something in Dodge, you kind of have to commit,
Yeah.
or else you might not get it. And it's just like, it's kind of impactful.
Yeah. And Sam, did you ever change your major or?
No, so I
change
came
anything?
in as graphic design. I actually also came in wanting to do a Chinese minor,
Oh, wow.
which is also in Wilkinson. So everyone was like, "Wow, you're double Wilkinson." Like, so I took Chinese 201 because I tested into it, and I really loved the program. But just in the grand scheme of things, I was like, with graphic design, I don't like. I knew the PR and ad program was really good here, and obviously, like in LA, like that's like a huge industry.
Right.
So I
right.
kind of thought about it, and I was like, with graphic design, we have so many credits. I wanted to double major in PR and ad, but they said I couldn't. So I was like, is it worth it to fully commit to PR and ad or to stick with Chinese? So I applied to PR and ad, and I was one of 5 people who got into the ad minor last semester. And I was really like, okay, like I think this is something I really want to pursue.
Yeah.
So I didn't like add or drop, but I did do the application, and it was like pretty easy. It was pretty smooth. It was like one essay and like I added my resume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a background in Mandarin?
I took Chinese for 4 years and all 4 years of high school.
Really? I learned something new about you today. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But Ava, to kind of follow up on or finish up this conversation on changing majors, most students, a majority of students do change their major at some point, not only at Chapman, but just in college generally. And the university has that kind of cooked into the requirements. And that's something that Kiki said. If you just take your major, take a minor, and then finish the GE requirements, that gets you to, I think it's like 90 credits, depending on the size of the major and the minor. Does anybody at the table know how many credits you need in order to graduate?
120.
120 credits.
I did not know that. I'm glad you guys knew.
Hey, we're all learning today. So it's kind of cooked into the books that there's some wiggle room there. So if you end up taking a major right when you get here and you get 20 credits into the major and you're like, man, this is not for me. Like I thought this was going to be like this and it turned out to be something totally different. You're not going to fall behind. Obviously, if you get to like complete all but 3 credits of a major and then want to start a new major while you're a senior or something, then you might have some issues. But if you're exploring some majors while you're a freshman and a sophomore, you still have plenty of room to change your major and just use those extra credits that, they don't count for nothing. They'll go to your overall credit count because most students are going to need extra credits just to get to the 120 that everybody needs to graduate. So changing a major is not a big deal. It's common. I think it's part of the experience. And as far as how difficult it is to change your major, it depends on the major. Some majors, you get a form, like you print off a PDF from the university's website and you check a box that says, I want to be this major, and then boom, you're that major. Or there's other majors like everybody here might have heard of Dodge. So Chapman is obviously a big film school. Getting into Dodge, the film school, is difficult. And there's an application process, and I think sometimes an interview process as well for some of the majors. There's a high level of rejection trying to get into Dodge. So there's majors like that as well where there's an application process. So kind of depends on what major you want to get into. It could be as easy as printing off a form and checking a box and signing it, or going through a whole application and interview process. So, Ava, does that answer your question before we get to Marco's question?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Perfect. All right, Marco, your turn. What do you got for us?
Oh, hey, I was just when I was looking at your like through the Chapman websites, I really like the Panther and I really like the arts and film section, and I thought all the reviews really like awesome. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if that's like housed in the School of Communications, and if how or if any of you guys are involved.
So the Panther, the school newspaper, right? That's what you're.
Yeah.
Are you kind of specifically interested in that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any experience with the Panther that you want to
Not me.
speak on?
Not personally, but many of my friends are in the Panther.
They're Panthers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's a paid position, or some of is it all paid?
I think it's mostly a paid position, but it's not like they get very many hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But you do get compensated for your work.
So the Panther is kind of like Chapman Radio in the sense that it is housed in the Dean of Students office, Marco, which means that the funding comes from the Dean of Students office, which if you end up coming to Chapman, Jerry Price is the Dean of Students. He's a really popular figure on campus. You will inevitably cross paths with him at some point. But as far as I know, I'm trying to recall off the top of my head, and I'm pretty sure, there is no class that you take to get into the Panther like you would with Chapman Radio. So for some reason, I kind of inherited the situation, but there's a class that you take with Chapman Radio, and that's the way that you get involved with the radio station is by taking the class. We train you on the equipment, train you how to speak on air, train you how to work our software system, get your show up and running, and then you roll over into being a club member. As far as the Panther goes, I know that there's not a class that you take. They do have a faculty advisor, but I would imagine that there's an application process that you do to become part of the Panther. But it is a paid position. So
I think you can also just like write and like submit.
Yes.
Yeah. Like if you wanted to just try it out and then
Yeah.
like write a couple things and see how you like it.
Right.
And then I think they do applications at the end of the semesters. Or I think they just released something on Instagram I saw about all
okay.
the positions. Yeah.
So there you go, Marco. Maybe look up the Panther on Instagram, as well as follow Chapman Radio on Instagram.
Yes.
Do it. Sorry we couldn't give you more info. I thought we did a pretty good job on the Panther
What we have.
for what we have, not being part of it. But Marco, does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Anybody else have any questions? Like I said, feel free to jump in, right in the chat. And maybe while you guys are formulating questions out on the Zoom call, I want to follow up with talking about Chapman Radio, talking about the Panther. One of the things that I really wanted to do today is to give everybody a sense of what life on campus is like for you guys. So kind of stepping outside of the classroom for a second, I want you to elaborate on like what are you guys involved in outside of the classroom? Because that's something that I've noticed that I think is unique to all the other universities that I've either been a student or faculty at, is that Chapman students are super engaged on campus, like almost to a fault sometimes from a teacher's standpoint, because students will come up to me and they're like, well, I'm involved in this club and this club and this club and this club, and I'm like super stressed out about being able to turn in this assignment. And it's like, well, because you're over involved. But that's kind of part of the cultures. It's everybody likes to keep themselves very busy, which I think is really cool. Obviously, all three of the students that are sitting in the radio station with me right now are part of Chapman Radio. But what else are you guys involved in on campus? What does life look like outside of the classroom for you guys on a day-to-day basis? Like, can you kind of talk about like the culture of being a student at Chapman? Anybody want to take the lead on that one?
I'll say just like generally be prepared to like there just being a lot of people in a very small campus. Like Chapman has, I think, 10,000 students about.
Yep.
So there are a lot of students. And if you're going to your classes every day, as you're like walking through the piazza, you're going to be seeing a lot of different programs or people just talking, like, to be perfectly honest. Like there's a lot of just like human connections, being like shown around. Periodically, there will be like stuff in the piazza where there's like Club Rush Week or like all of the different like fraternities or sororities, they're going to be having their little like their table with like a fold out like what are they called, like the umbrellas?
Easy up.
Yeah. Yeah, but like if you're interested in joining a club or joining a fraternity or sorority, I highly encourage you to check out those Club Rush weeks because they're very informative. Me personally, I am in a club. It's called Tabletop Panthers. Basically, what we do is we play tabletop role playing games, or it's more of a way to like find people to play tabletop role playing games with. We don't really do that in the like at the like any of the meetings or anything. We mostly just do like fun arts and crafts or like small games and stuff like that. But I think it's very fun, very fulfilling. Yeah, but like that's pretty much all I'm invested in, and yeah, I think Chapman life is very very nice as long as you're like surrounding yourself with people that you enjoy.
Very vibrant. Yeah. What about Kiki, Sam?
I am a class act workaholic. I can't help it. So I'm always doing stuff for Chapman Radio, always have a new assignment to do, always sending out emails. But I also work at Disneyland, which is super awesome. So if you're ever at Disney and you see someone selling balloons, it could be me. So I love that. It's just a very nice time, and it lets me get out on the weekends and lets me go to Disneyland with my friends. A lot of people at Chapman either work at Disney or have like a Disney pass just because it's super local. And I need to get outside and like breathe fresh air, and why not do that on Space Mountain? Or not breathe fresh air on Space Mountain, but get on Space Mountain afterwards. And then I am also an orientation leader. So every summer for a week, I will go through super intense training for hours and hours a day. And then the next week, I will spend all day on campus just doing everything, doing super fun activities, hanging out with freshmen, just connecting everyone together. It's honestly just a super rewarding experience being an orientation leader, just because I always get nervous at orientation and I want people to have someone that they can just like rely on, and I'm not like very intimidating or like super crazy, so I feel like I'm just like a very chill person that students like to engage with.
That is nice. The orientation vibes for incoming students, very welcoming.
Yes.
I do appreciate that.
It was a big week with a lot of events. I remember some of those. It was really fun as a freshman. Yeah.
Sam, stuff outside of radio, outside of the classroom that maybe you're involved in on campus?
I do a lot of things, and like I was literally just thinking about it. Like it's kind of a problem how many things I'm in. I have like a big to-do list I have to finish tonight, but I'm involved specifically with the Fowler School of Engineering. I did robotics in high school, and I wanted to give back a little, and I love working with people who are engineers. So I'm the graphic designer for Robotics Club. We recently went to the Girl Scouts of Orange County STEM Expo and showed them. We have little robot dogs, if you've ever seen those, the yellow Boston Dynamics ones.
Yep.
So I do design for that. I do design for the Computer Science Club, which is more of like a social thing for all the computer science students. And like weekly, like we'll have pizza and like play games or something or learn like a new skill. I'm part of the Food Science Master Program, and I do a lot of graphic design for them because I'm really interested in advertising for food. So a stem of that is Coffee Club, and which is like weekly on Fridays.
I'm familiar with Coffee Club.
Free coffee. They have this big room, and they have all the like expensive, like state-of-the-art espresso machines, and they'll do like we did pumpkin marshmallow lattes a couple weeks ago for fall. And I do a couple other design things for the Food Science Masters program because it's a really big program here in SoCal. There's a lot of food industry here, and that's something I'm interested in. So I took a class. I was thinking about doing the nutrition minor, actually. I took a couple nutrition classes, and I found out about it. And it's good to make connections. I just like kind of like showed up one day, and they're like, okay, yeah, come now. So I just go to that. I'm trying to think. I do a bunch of other stuff. Oh, what's up?
No. You finish. But I've got something else to say. I'm also a part of.
You remember? Okay. I think that's pretty much it. But it's
I
easy
do
to
have,
be around.
I do have beef with the Coffee Club
Wait, why?
Whoa.
because I was told the university came in to do a feature on Chapman Radio like
Mhm.
2 years ago, and we were going to be on the cover of the Chapman magazine.
Oh no.
And when I got the Chapman magazine, all I saw were coffee beans on the cover.
It was Coffee Club? I
It
haven't
was
seen
Coffee
that.
Club, yeah.
That's so sad. I'm
Um,
sorry.
So yeah, beef with the Coffee Club right now, all because
Yeah.
it's Chapman magazine.
That's messed up.
Yeah. Oh, and then I also
It was
do
a cool
graphic
feature.
design here.
Yeah, it was a cool
Yeah.
feature.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention something that any student can be involved in, whether it's not a club, it's not like a fraternity. It's called Chapman Work Study. I don't know if other colleges
Oh,
do this.
yeah,
but
please.
I'm a part of this. Basically, what you do is you can basically just like have a job on campus, and you get paid to do it. I think they pay like minimum wage $16.50, and yeah, I think if you're like strapped for cash, I think they allow up to like $3,000 to be paid like in 1 year. So if you're just like working, or if you just like have free time between class or like after classes, you should definitely like check out Chapman Work Study, because you can get paid just for like doing stuff. So for me, I am a assistant on the football team. So I'll
Really?
like set up the field during practices and games, and I'll like also film the games with like a little drone.
Nice.
Oh wow.
But
And you got that position through work study.
yes,
Oh, very
Interesting.
yeah,
good.
and there's other stuff you can do. You can like be an usher. You can be like a test subject. I think for like people's science experiment, or not like science experiment, not as in like they're electrocuting you or something, but it's like you're like a part of like a study,
Right.
and you can get paid to do stuff like that, and it's really nice.
Right.
I used to have a work study job long ago. No, my first 2 years, I worked right down the hall actually at the resident support desk. And I would just sit there, give out lockout codes when you get locked out of your room, print new IDs, really like office work stuff, and answer the phone, talk to people, talk to a lot of screaming moms.
Okay.
But it was really rewarding because I got to engage with a lot of the community, and I got really tight with the professional staff at Residence Life. So that's really nice to know what's going on around
Yeah.
campus.
Yeah.
I think something I kind of want to wrap up this conversation of kind of life on campus about is, again, I've been part of a lot of different universities, either as a student or a faculty member. So I do a lot of comparing and contrasting between where I've been and where I'm at right now. And Chapman is definitely not what they call a commuter school. So there's other schools, I won't name them. It's not a bad thing, but where the culture is, you drive to campus, you go to your class, you take your class, you get in your car, and you go home. The campus life at Chapman is kind of the opposite of that. We do have a lot of students that live on campus. We have a lot of students that are from out of state, where they come here to do school, and that means that they're on campus a lot. And that's kind of the culture that I found here at Chapman, is not a lot of commuter students. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But if you're looking for an experience where there's a lot of activity happening on campus, the dorm life is super present. There's dorms that we're sitting in right now that are literally just across the street from the main campus. There's also dorm buildings that you have to take a shuttle bus to and from. But dorm life, obviously, I think fosters a culture of being on campus a lot, just kind of hanging out around campus, and not that commuter type of culture that some other universities might have.
Yeah.
I want to open it up as we're getting closer to the end of our hour here, and I want to make sure that everybody on the Zoom call has a chance to speak up if they have any questions. But here's another opportunity. Does anybody have any questions on the Zoom call for any of our students that are sitting here? And maybe even for me, if you have any questions for a faculty member. Oh, Sophia, please unmute yourself. And good to hear from you. What's your question?
So I was wondering if you I know one of you guys is a double major, and I'm wondering if you find it difficult to kind of manage the workloads. I mean, I know it's different depending on what those two majors are, but in your personal experience or people if it's kind of something that's hard to manage.
Great question, Sophia.
Yeah, so I kind of got the easy way out, and my original major, PR and ad, is about 48 credits. I think it's been changed, so incoming freshmen, it'll be about 54, but that's still on the lower end because it's a Bachelor of Arts. If you're getting a BFA, a Bachelor of Fine Arts, it would probably be around 70 to 90 credits, which is just a lot more intense. So I have that. And then the French major, which is also a BA, is also very small. So it's about 30 credits. So I only have about 78 credits worth of major classes to deal with on top of GEs, which I'm already done with. So for me, it's personally really manageable because I take about 2 French classes a semester and then about 3 PR classes a semester, and that all totals out, and I'm almost done. And I can take a lot of electives, and I have a lot of wiggle room. But with other people, I know it's just like even adding a minor is impossible. Like my friend is creative producing, and even trying to add a minor is too many credits, so she had to go the themed inquiry route. So I would say definitely if you're trying to double major, make sure that you're not already in a major that's overwhelming. Like if you are in a
Right.
BFA, I would say you probably cannot double major.
I know I wanted
Right.
to, because graphic design is 78
Yeah.
credit, or it's like almost 80,
Really?
which is, yeah, when I first came in, I was like, I really want to do PR and ad, and she was like, it will take you 5 years. I was like, oh, okay. So you just have to pivot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, which for the school of communication students, uh, most of the programs, the majors that we offer are going to be like 45 credits.
Yeah.
So compare that to, you said graphic design is 80?
It's almost 80.
Almost
It's a
80.
BFA, and it's
Right.
like one of the, I think it's only second to like some of like Fowler, because like those ones are also a lot. But yeah.
Right. I would say most majors are like the School of Comm, where it's like 45-ish types of credits, but yeah, as Sophie, as the other students, Kiki and Sam were saying here, really depends on what the major is. I mean, there's also other factors as well. It's like how many credits a semester are you willing to take?
Mm-hmm.
There's some students that are like, I just want to be at full-time student status, which is 12, because I've got a lot of other stuff going on, or that's just all I can handle. And then there's other students that, they'll bring me an overload credit form that I have to sign to approve them, because they're like, no, I want to take 21 credits this semester. I can totally handle it. So obviously that kind of factors into it as well. For me, when I was a student, I was a 15 credit a semester
Me
type of
too.
guy, because that was all that I felt like I could handle, maintain a social life, and just live life basically. So kind of depends on the individual student as well. Sophia, did that answer your question? Do you have any follow-ups?
No, that was very helpful because I was also thinking of like if I was to double major, it would be a BFA. That would be the second one because I wanted to do screen acting, but I had heard that like you might not be able to graduate in 4 years, and I don't want to have that be the case. So this was very helpful. Thank you.
Right.
I will say with screen acting, since it's both Dodge and Copa, it's like a special major. You are already getting like both halves of like you're getting like 2 kinds of educations there. So I don't know if that's something that you would consider to just do screen acting. Like it's like a kind of a special kind of major. So I feel like you wouldn't feel as limited as if you were just doing one major, if that makes sense.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah,
Thank-
the amount, but it's something to think about, because yeah, now that we're talking about the BFA, like I know if you are a like musical performance major, there's a lot of like 1 credit labs that you have to take, but it's like hours and hours and hours of practice for whatever instrument it is that you're playing. So something to factor in. Like I wish that we could be as specific as possible with every single major
Yeah.
right now, but we don't have the knowledge of every single major on campus. But I think that's probably the big takeaway, right? Is A, look at how many credits it takes to complete the major, and B, especially with anything in the BFA kind of category, that really need to pay attention. Like how many credits, but then how much of your time is required to complete something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions from our lovely audience out there before we wrap things up? Want to make sure that you get the last word. All right. Well, it looks like we have come to the end of the hour. Before we go, I am going to put my name or my email address in the chat right now. It is just bartosh@chapman.edu. Feel free to email me if you have any questions for the students in particular. Maybe I can forward your email to them, and if you guys wouldn't mind following up if they have any questions specifically geared towards you. that would be great. I'll hang around on the call for a little bit longer to field any questions if you want to ask anything off air. I'm happy to do that. But other than that, it's been absolutely lovely to have you on this Saturday, late morning, early afternoon at the Chapman radio station. And feel free to ask any follow-up questions to me or the students. Send me an email, anything. Happy to chat with you. But it's been lovely to have you, and I hope everybody has a good rest of your Sunday. We'll see you guys later. Bye.